Hold up. It's time to go to the next level. I am so happy and grateful to be before you guys once again. For those who don't know, my name is Mr. Kingdom Cash, Charles Dyson, married to my wonderful, beautiful wife, Lady Kingdom Cash, Christina Dyson. And we are Chairman 10s and Platinum 5000s, respectively, within this platform. And I'm just blessed and privileged to be before you to give you some powerful information tonight. This is the Believe Bigger, Faster call, designed to help you believe correctly, take you to the next level financially, designed to give you the tools and the information that you need to execute at a high level and produce the results that you desire in your life. If you talk to any individual, any successful individual within our platform, and you ask them, you know, what's the one thing that you can tell me that you wish you would have done as a successful individual on this platform, they all 100% will tell you, I wish I would have believed bigger, faster. So this call is designed to help you do just that. You know, Mark chapter 9, verse 23, King James Version, it says, Jesus said unto him, if you can believe, all things are possible to him that believes. If you can believe. So the question becomes, do you believe? And what specifically do you believe in? And then once you have those two questions answered and solidified, it says, if you can believe, all things are possible to him that believes. It didn't say some things. It didn't say most things. The gravity of this statement is important to understand. It says, all things are possible to him that believes. So then the question becomes, well, how do I believe? And how do I know when I'm really believing so I can get whatever I'm believing for? All really important questions. I'm submitting to you tonight that there's a foundational principle to believe that if you grasp it and appropriate it, believing can become something that is sweatless. This foundational principle of belief is the engine to belief, and it's the gas to belief as well. So it makes the vehicle run and it makes the vehicle go. I'm talking about identity. Who are you? What do you represent? What is it about you that makes you, you? And how can you use this knowledge of self to propel you in life? Identity is the engine to belief, and it's the gas to belief. It serves two purposes. It makes your belief able to be used like an engine. No engine, no car. No identity, no belief. So it makes your belief able to be used, and it makes the vehicle able to move, able to go. Knowing your identity can make your belief applicable. It can make your belief move you in ways that operating without this understanding just won't do. I can prove it to you. Every single chairman you see knows who they are. They know what they represent. They know what makes them unique from every other chairman. And they know how to use it to propel them financially. You're going to discover 4 things clearly. And it's absolutely going to change your belief level and what you think is possible, what you believe you're capable of. And understanding this subject of identity is going to propel you in ways that it just didn't do before, if you can grasp it. Simply put, understanding your identity will become the engine and the fuel to your belief. Are you ready to go to the next level? Drop some sevens in the chat if you're ready to go further, faster. Okay? This is going to give a whole new meaning to success, love, speed. I believe that once you get this understanding, it's going to give you the supernatural energy to accomplish all that you desire to accomplish. That's where we're going tonight. That's where we're going tonight. Now, if you're concerned about time, this is not the call for you. Okay? I know I'm not going to finish. There's going to be a part 2 to this. Okay? So I'm not going to keep y'all here till 1 in the morning. Right? But time is not of extreme importance to me tonight. What's important to me is to getting you to understand it. It's getting you to understand it. So I'm going to talk to you about identity from 2 different standpoints tonight. And it's important that you completely understand both of them. Okay? Identity. The first one is identity based on who you are as a person, your character, your personality, your ethics, your stance and posture as an individual. But also, number 2, I'm going to speak to you about your identity based on who God made you to be. Your humanity, right? But also your royal positioning. What do I mean by that? Okay, your humanity. Start there. There's certain things that you were born with that are wonderful tools for you to use to your advantage. Bob Proctor talks about this all the time. He calls it the 6 higher faculties. Just a quick review. All 6 of them: imagination, memory, perception, intuition, reason, and will. All right, and I'm gonna quickly define these. Imagination, using your ability to see things mentally before you see things physically. Using your ability to see things mentally before you see things physically. That's your imagination. Your memory. This one right here. It's powerful. Using this gift to create memories that haven't happened yet. But at the same time, using the past to learn from and create a better future. Perception, how you see things, how you perceive things. Intuition, your gut feeling is your God feeling. Okay? Reason, the ability to think. Practice thinking. What are your thoughts like today? And finally, will, the ability to focus on one thing and turn off all outside noises, right? So I'm going to talk to you about your identity from your humanity standpoint, but I'm also going to talk to you about your identity from royal positioning. What is that? What is royal positioning? It is the truth that you are an extremely powerful being within the construct of this physical reality. And you have the right, you have the authority to dictate your experience within this reality because of the way God created you. It's a very powerful statement. All of this has to do with your identity as a form of creation within this construct called Earth. Now, here's the questions that arise as a result. Shout out to everybody who was on the call with Gary McSween and Justin Owens yesterday. Powerful call. Gary McSween talked about the 4 types of knowledges: learned knowledge, activity knowledge, modeling knowledge, and teaching knowledge. I want to talk about that modeling knowledge for a second when it comes to identity, because here's the question that arises when it comes to identity when speaking about modeling knowledge. How do I model someone else without losing myself? How do you do that? The answer is this. The whole point is to lose yourself. That's the point. As you grow by learning new information, the version of who you are now is going to change. The goal is to become a better version of you while also modeling the habits, activities, the speech, the mindset, the consistency, and the work ethic of your mentor. Gary said something really profound. He said, the faster you stop being who you are, the more money you're going to make. And I knew exactly what he meant by that. And Justin did a great job of coming behind Gary and breaking that down. Here's what I like to add when talking about identity. The version of you that you are right now, with the level of understanding that you have right now, is not the person that's going to be making $10,000 a month or more. Here's what you got to do. You must grow. How do you grow? Acquiring new information and then execute. That's what Gary talked about today, right? One of the chairman mentorship call. You got to gain more understanding, gain more skills, gain more knowledge, and continue to execute at the same exact time and keep repeating that process until the results come. And guess what? It's not a comfortable process. But on the other side of uncomfortableness, on the other side of sacrifice, there's always a reward. Here's what you got to understand. When you learn, your brain chemistry, your brain biochemistry, it literally changes. Growing literally makes you a different person. But you only grow by creating new neurological connections. And when you make these new neurological connections through memories, right? And you can create strong memories by practicing repetitively the things that you learn. You'll learn to remember through execution. So once again, the goal is to be you, excuse me. The goal is to be you, but grow and change and become better. So remember, as I train today on identity, I'm speaking about it from two standpoints. One, identity based on who you are as a person, your character, your personality, your ethics, your stance, your posture as an individual. And number two, I'm speaking to you about your identity from the standpoint of who God made you to be. Your humanity, but also your royal positioning, right? So, excuse me. Drop some fire emojis if you're ready. If you're ready, all right? Like the chat out. I want to see this. I want to see this. I want to see the chat blown up. All right? We about to go in. We about to go in. All right, so some of you heard a little bit of this on Friday, but just to give a refresher, identity. I got this card. It's called a driver's license, right? Driver's license, right? It has a lot of information on it, right? This driver's license is a representation of who I am. It's, excuse me, if you hear me coughing, I'm like 90% better after being sick for like 3 weeks, but we pressing through. And this ID is an official document of proof that you are who you say you are. You've mentally convinced yourself that this ID card represents you. If you have to show this ID card to somebody, you'll do it with full confidence, right? It's got your date of birth on it, your name, address, right? Sexual orientation, eye color, height, weight. Yours might have a little bit more information, might be a little bit different, but all in all, same thing. I want to submit this to you. Without identification, you're lost. Without identification, you're lost. To give a deeper understanding of this, and all of this is going to be so important to you, tying everything together. This is foundational, right? So what is a citizen? See, in order for me to get this ID, I have to be a citizen. But what is a citizen? A citizen is a participatory member of a community. Citizenship is gained by meeting the legal requirements of a nation, a state, or local government, right? A nation grants certain privileges, certain rights to its citizens. So watch this. Citizenship is predicated by identity, not position. We use identification to prove citizenship. For example, Many of you on this call right now, you're a citizen of the United States of America. But even if you were positioned in China, you're still a citizen of the United States of America, and you can prove your identity, which is, right, physically represented by your identification, right, your ID. But what do you call someone without citizenship? It's called a stateless person. A stateless person. The international definition of a stateless person is a person who does not have an identity of any country. If they have no identity with any country, they can't function properly. They can't go to a bank and request the creation of a bank account. This limits their ability to develop in modern life. They can't ask for credit. They can't make purchases online. They can't obtain housing, shelter without identification. They can't properly buy or sell, which prevents them from living a free life altogether. A stateless person cannot function adequately. That's how important identity is, right? Identity is the sameness of individuals, right? That they share things that make up the same kind. It's like universal. A chairman knows a chairman when he or she sees one. There's a likeness there. At events, if shout out to everybody who's coming to West Palm Beach, Florida, March 10th, 11th, and 12th. I've been to several events over the years, and I've been the individual that was behind the chairman rope. And at the last event, it was my first live event where I got to attend as a chairman and sit in the chairman section. Let me tell you something about that rope. Even though that rope, that section, that chairman section, is in the exact same room, the air is a little bit different behind that rope. I promise you. The frequency is a little bit different behind that rope. The frequency is different on that stage. Remember positioning. You and I are Americans. We share the same rights and privileges of being an American, no matter what soil we walk on, no matter where on earth we're positioned. The same principle works within community. If you're a part of the chairman community, there's likeness there. There's an identity likeness there. If you're a part of the Black community, there's just certain things you understand and know. Just like if you're a part of the Italian community, there's just certain things, certain behaviors you understand. That's what happens when you have an identity. It's the same thing with chairmen. There's a certain walk, there's a certain talk, there's a certain posture, there's a certain work ethic, a certain tenaciousness, a particular type of consistency, certain skill set, certain ability, a strong reliability, a certain cadence when we speak, a certain sound when we present. There's a literal universal identity of chairman that must be developed to be a chairman. If you don't have that confidence yet, it's because you haven't taken on the identity of a chairman. But it's even deeper than that. Without the identity of who you are as a person, you can obtain the skills and chairman still won't show up. So you got people in business who have no identity, which means they are stateless and cannot function properly because they mentally don't believe they have the right to succeed as a chairman. They haven't accepted the identity of chairman. No identity, no proper functioning. Watch this. Your identity is more important than your confidence, because your confidence derives, it comes from, it exists because of your identity. That's how powerful, that's how important identity really is. Right? So watch this. With that understanding, when you hear certain things, it's going to hit a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit deep. It's a different positioning. It's kind of like being on a plane 30,000 feet in the air and then being in a building 30 floors up and then being on the ground. There's different vantage points, different perspectives when you're looking at the same exact thing. So with this understanding, when you hear these next bit of phrases with the understanding of what identity actually is, you'll see things a little bit different. Have you ever heard somebody say, the way we choose to see the world creates the world we see? Watch this. If you don't know who you are, then you don't know you'll be, you don't know who you'll be if you arrive to where you're going. Let me say that one more time, right? You've heard people say, if we choose, the way we choose to see the world creates the world we see. But if you don't know who you are, then you don't know who you'll be if you arrive to where you're going. That's kind of deep to think about. You doing all this work trying to get to chairman. And then when you get there, you don't even feel like you belong. Because you don't know who you are. Right? You don't want that. Have you heard this? You don't get what you want, you get what you are. Watch this. You don't get what you want, you get what you are. But if we take that statement even deeper, you get what you think and believe that you are. You receive what you exist as. So if you change your positioning mentally of what you are and who you are, your identity, you will literally change your results. Are you working from a position of hope? Are you working from a position of hope? That's not going to work, y'all. It's not going to work. Watch this. This is another thing that is powerful truth when you start understanding identity. Some people, some of you listening to me right now, internally, you're your own worst enemy. You wouldn't talk to somebody in the street. You wouldn't talk to a stranger the way you talk to yourself. You got to change that. That's an identity crisis. That's an identity crisis. Right? And then there's this. There are things that literally and naturally shape your identity, like where you're born. If you're born in America, you're American, right? Or if you're born, that's speaking to location, right? But if you're born into wealth, you'll naturally behave wealthy. Or if you're born into poverty, you'll naturally behave poor. It's like you could identify the dumbest person you can find, and they could be born into an environment of wealth, and they'll have a $5 million net worth by age 22 by accident. It's a certain mode of behavior that they picked up on in their environment that they can't get rid of. It's built in, and it leads to financial success. Watch this, this is where positioning becomes of extreme importance. Because if you can position yourself in wealthy environments consistently, it begins to work on and change your identity. There are things you begin to understand, behaviors that you begin to identify with that create success. Behaviors like showing the plan, prospecting, promoting. You see, promoting sounds annoying to some of you because you have not yet identified with chairman. Right? Excuse me. Promoting is comfortable to chairmans because that's what chairmans do. Right? You hear over and over, over again about events. Right? And if you don't identify with chairman, That's annoying to you. Not only is it annoying to you, you won't do it. You won't talk about the event. You'll sign somebody up and completely skip over the event. You don't want to be too pushy. You don't want to come off as too aggressive, right? But that's because your identity is not wrapped up in what chairmen actually do. Because we know who made a commitment to going to events, who made a commitment to bringing other people to events. What do we know? We know that that's the best environment for you to be in to get realization that you actually can go chair. That's where decisions are made. Excuse me. And if you're annoyed by hearing about West Palm Beach, March 10th, 11th, and 12th, chairman isn't your identity yet. You don't do what you haven't identified with. You will not do it, right? This is a very strong example, but you'll get it. You're not a cocaine user. So if somebody puts some cocaine on the table, right? Right? You won't be looking around like, what we doing? This, I ain't come for this. You don't identify with that. That's not within your realm of activities. You will not do what you haven't identified with, right? If you haven't bought your ticket to the event, you don't identify with chairman. You could scream, you could drop fire emojis in the chat, you could scream chairman season, you could do the work. But you don't identify with it. Because watch this, we're talking about positioning when it comes to identity. Changing your positioning can change your mentality, which can then attract what it is that you really want. How about this? You build your life from the inside out, not the outside in. See, when you understand identity, that has a whole new meaning. Whole new meaning. You don't build your life for material things. You don't obtain the stuff of success without first changing internally what you identify with when it comes to success. There's certain things you got to change about your behaviors, what you're willing to do, what you're not willing to do, places that you must go to, places that you absolutely can't go to. It's kind of funny when we talk about environment. I grew up in the inner city of Philadelphia, PA. I used to love hardcore rap music. Love it. That music where they talk about killing each other and stuff like that, that was me. I loved it. Actually, I actually did it. I used to rap, right? I don't even know if I should tell y'all my name. Boy, y'all wouldn't believe it if I told you. You know what my rap name was? Cold Cannon Raw Spitter. That was my rap name. Cold Cannon Raw Spitter, right? You wouldn't believe it. You would not believe it. He said, drop a quick 16. Nah, we're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. Listen, watch this, watch this. So you won't find a record, by the way. You're not gonna find it. It ain't on YouTube. Don't even go looking for it. You're not gonna find it. All right. But watch this. When I got outside that environment and I learned certain things, that music disgusts me now. When you change your environment, it changes your palette. It changes what you're attracted to. And that works with everything. Write this down. The way you change your life is by building indispensable skills with undeniable value. The way you change your life financially is by building indispensable skills with undeniable value. Isn't that what we do? Isn't that what we do? Think about that. Indispensable skills. Trading gives you an indispensable skill. It doesn't matter what's going on in the economy. It doesn't matter what is happening. When you have the skill trading, you can make money wherever you go. As long as you have an internet connection, laptop, desktop, tablet, cell phone, you're good. Watch this. That gives you undeniable value. Any room you walk in, you're now valuable to every single person in the room. You can change anybody's life you choose. Watch this. You can change anybody's life you choose without even having the skill. Why? Because it's not about you. It's about the access that you have. You got access to a platform that gives them access to the indispensable skills, even if you don't yet own the indispensable skill. That's what makes what we got so powerful. See, if you understand what I just said, you can get excited about going and telling people about this platform before you even know how to trade. The way you change your life financially is by building indispensable skills with undeniable value. And we have that. And you don't even need to own the indispensable skill to recognize that you have undeniable value. Identity. If you knew who you were and you knew what you had, you will build this business like your hair was on fire. And that's what we're talking about tonight. We're going to get you there. We're going to get you there. Here's another thing that you got to understand that hits differently once you understand identity. You must, watch this. There ain't no way around this, y'all. This is no way around this. Watch this. You absolutely must experience resistance in order to get better. This ain't no cakewalk. You're asking for $10,000 a month residually. I ain't promised you it was going to be easy. Nobody promised you it was going to be easy. Now watch this. Is the work easy? I mean, what do we actually do? We play kindergarten games for big checks, for big bags. We play kindergarten games for big money. What are we doing? Sharing, show and tell, showing the plan, right? Show and tell, right? What are we really doing? Hi, my name is Charles. What's your name? Making new friends. We're playing kindergarten games for big bags. Clicking buttons on our phone is the activity that we really do that hard? I mean, it ain't hard. It ain't hard. But what can be perceived as hard is the consistency necessary to go get what it is that you said you want. You got to go through some things. You must experience resistance in order to get better. That's in every single area of life. You watch this. Go get a gym membership and stare at the gym and see if you get muscles. Just look at it and see what happens. See if that six-pack shows up just looking at the gym. If you don't give your muscles no resistance, you ain't getting no muscles. If you don't give it no room to grow, it ain't growing. You gotta go give it some resistance. Ain't no way around that. Y'all want chairman without the work. You want chairman posting flyers on social media. That's it. Not developing the skills, but working around the skills. It don't work like that. Gary McSween said something powerful. He said he made the decision to become a professional in this industry. Christina and I did the same exact thing. And that's when we started making money. How do you become a professional without an identity? Without a voice? Without a particular path and model that you're going to copy within the construct of who you are? Last but not least, what you speak is a part of your identity. But if you don't believe what you speak, then you have an identity crisis. Listen to me carefully. Every single word you speak is a part of your identity. But if you don't believe what you speak, then you have an identity crisis. The rest of the time that I'm training you from this point forward is to convince you how powerful your words are. Because your words are literally attached to your identity. I'm gonna prove it to you. So watch this. If you're with me, drop a 3 in the chat. If you're still with me, if this is hitting, if this is hitting on another level, put some 3s in the chat, right? If you're gaining a different perspective, a different level of understanding about you, about identity, about you, and what you have to do as far as belief, right? We getting there. We got a lot. We got a long way to go. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I haven't even scratched the surface yet. But if this is hitting different, put a 3 in the chat. All right, so here's I gotta establish this. Who you listen to matters, right? Who you listen to matters, right? The source of your information matters, right? Am I right? The results that happen in the lives of the source as a result of that information matters, right? You don't want to follow nobody that don't got no results, right? Well, listen. Excuse me. So all those things matter. Well, I'm about to cite the sources that you respect, okay? I'm about to cite where they got their information from. Napoleon Hill, he wrote Think and Grow Rich, right? Created thousands of millionaires as a result of that book. You respect Napoleon Hill, right? I'm about to give you the source of that information. Bob Proctor, one of the foremost thought leaders of this generation. He studied Napoleon Hill's work literally for a lifetime. He's about 87 years old with well over 50 income streams. You respect Bob Proctor, right? You respect Bob Proctor? I'm gonna give you the source of his information. John Maxwell, another one of the foremost thought leaders, right? And leadership training leaders of this generation. John Maxwell is literally a gem to humanity. You respect him, right? You respect John Maxwell? I'm gonna give you the source of that information. David Imonitier. David Imonitier, we all respect him, right? Chairman 750, makes well over $1.8 million a month residually from this platform, I Am Mastery Academy, but also has investments that have made him over $1 million in a day repeatedly. I've lost count to how many times he said he did it. Y'all respect David, right? I'm gonna give you the source. I'm gonna give you the source of his information. This is also the source of my information, of Christina's information. This is also the source of Paris Simmons's information. Paris Simmons retired himself. his mother, his father, and his grandmother before the age of 30. Y'all respect Paris Simmons, right? Mr. Top 5 Lifestyle. How about this? Justin Owens and Gary McSween. Y'all enjoyed their training yesterday? I'm going to give you the source of their information. You ready? Every single person I just named, all of y'all said that y'all respect them. All of the success that they experienced, you said y'all listen to them. You ready for this source of all their information and success? You ready? The Bible. The Bible, all of it comes from the Bible. All right, so now watch this. Watch this. We're about to get into it. I'm gonna give you the end from the beginning. This is how we're gonna do this. I'm gonna give you the end from the beginning. I'm gonna give you who you are. I'm gonna tell you your identity, and I'm gonna spend the rest of the time proving it to you. Ready? Here's 12 things that your identity, right? 12 things that is you. These 12 things are you. I need you to put yourself in these 12 things. And then I'm gonna spend the rest of the time proving it to you. Ready? Number one, your identity. God placed inside of you the ability to be just like him. Do you understand how powerful that statement is? I gotta move. I want to stay right there, but I'm gonna prove it to you. Number one, about your identity. He placed inside of you, God placed inside of you the ability to be just like him. God himself, the one who made you and everything you see. Number two, you have the same creative power God has built inside your identity through your ability to speak. Number three, you don't got to write this down. This is recorded. You're definitely going to have to listen to this over and over again. All right. Number three, what you speak is a part of your identity. It defines who you are and what you believe. Every single word. Number four, everything God established, he established through speaking. Likewise, the exact life you have right now was created through the words you have spoken. And the life you desire to have will be created through the words you choose to speak now. That's number four. Number five. I'm gonna prove it. I'm gonna prove this next one is really powerful. You have the ability to change all manner of physical reality with your words. I'm gonna prove it to you. You have the ability to change all manner of physical reality with your words. Number six, the only power the enemy has over you is the words in which you use to empower him. Number seven, your words give power to your belief. Your words give power to your belief. You see, when we say, you gotta believe, you gotta believe, you gotta believe, and we break down belief, right? Like we break it down. We give all these different definitions, different things like that. But how? How do I believe? How? Just like this, your words give power to your belief. It's that simple. I'm gonna prove it. Number eight, knowledge of your identity empowers you to accomplish what would not be possible if you moved based on your feelings. I'm gonna say it one more time. Knowledge of your identity empowers you to accomplish what wouldn't be possible to do if you moved based on your feelings. Number 9, you are royalty when you're in the family of God. Number 10, this is a really deep one right here. This one right here is really, really major. Number 10, all things are yours to command. All things are yours to command. Number 11, the lifestyle of speaking with purpose will empower you to accomplish whatever you set your mind to do. Let's say it one more time. The lifestyle of speaking with purpose will empower you to accomplish whatever you set your mind to do. And last but not least, certainly not least, number 12, results follow those who know their identity in Christ. These are the 12 things about identity, about you, about your very essence, about your very being. These 12 things are you. Now I got to prove it. Woo! Boy! Those 12 things is going to change your life. Now, I got to spend the rest of the time just proving it to you. I just got to spend the rest of the time proving it to you. Like I said, it's going to be a part 2. I ain't going to get through all this. We'll be here till 1 in the morning. I'm not going to get through all this. But part 2 is going to be powerful. Right? I ain't done. I ain't done. We're going to start. Let's go through the process of convincing you how powerful you are. Let's go through the process of showing you your identity. So when you work now, from this point forward, when you work, you're going to work from a position of knowing that you know that you know that you know that chairman is done. You're going to work with a different type of energy. Watch this. Whatever environment you enter will change. I told you, this transcends just money. This transcends just building the business. When you walk into work, that company is successful because you're there. Every environment you enter gets better. Wherever you go, people seem to flock to you. Whenever you speak, people just seem to listen. Why? Because when you talk, you're talking with understanding of how powerful you are. All right, come on, Charles. Let's get to it. Watch this. Anybody have children? Anybody have little brothers and sisters? Anybody notice how they like to imitate people? They'll copy you. I know as a father, right? I still got little ones. Not too little. She getting big. Oh my God, she getting so big. Leilani, my youngest daughter. But I know as a father, when my children were little, they would put my shoes on with their little feet and try to walk around in them. It's funny, right? They'll follow me around. They'll sit next to me. They'll do what I do. Ephesians chapter 5, verse 1. It says, imitate God, therefore, in everything that you do, because you are his dear children. Everything I'm going to say from this point forward, this is the foundational scripture. Imitate God. Therefore, in everything that you do, everything that you do. Why? Because you are his dear children. Watch this. The first thing you need to understand about your identity is he gave you the power to be like him. Ephesians 5:1. He gave you the power. He built inside of us the power to be like him. Do y'all know how powerful that is? He wouldn't have told you to imitate him if it were not possible to be like him. In fact, to go even deeper, he gave you the exact same ability he has. So you would have the capacity and the capability to copy him. We can stop right there. We can end this joint right there. All right. Psalm 141, verse 3. It says, set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. That's the King James Version, right? There's another version that says, set a guard, O Lord, over my mouth. Keep watch over the door of my lips. The Message Bible, it says, post a guard at my mouth, God. Set a watch at the door of my lips. Why would God put this in the Bible? Why should you watch your mouth? Because what you say has power. Excuse me. Because what you say excuse me. What you say has power. We know a little bit about this. But I'm here to tell you this evening that we haven't taken this serious enough. I'm convinced that many who think they know a little bit about this, number one, they're not walking in the light that they have. And number two, if we are willing, if we are walking in the life that we have, so much more will be given. Results follow those who apply this information. I'm included in this. When I studied this thing, I said, oh my God. Oh my God. Come on, the power, come, you better say it. You better say it. The power of life and death is in the tongue. Romans chapter 6, verse 23. Watch this. Watch this. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 3. Proverbs chapter 13, verse 3. The NIV version says this: those who guard their lips preserve their lives, but those who speak rashly will come to ruin. Okay. The Jewish version says this: the one who guards his mouth preserves his life. The one who opens wide his lips comes to ruin. Anytime you start talking about how important it is to watch what you say, it never fails. Some people think, is it really that deep? Like, for real, this sounds kind of like bondage. Look, you mean to tell me I need to watch everything I say, every single word? Nope. You ain't got to do nothing. You can say anything you want to say and be destroyed. It's up to you. But watch this. If you want to be protected 24/7, if you only want to say things that give the Holy Spirit access to your life and give the enemy no access in your life, then yes, you and I will have to watch every single word that comes out of our mouth. It's a full-time job. But did the Bible tell us to do this? Yes, absolutely. And by the way, every successful person knows this. Every single one of them. Philippians chapter 4, verses 8 through 9, King James Version. Philippians chapter 4, verses 8 through 9. It says, finally, brethren, whatever things are true, whatever things are honest, whatever things are just, whatever things are pure, whatever things are lovely, whatever things are of good report, if there be any virtue, if there be any praise, think on these things. Those things which you have both learned and received and heard and seen in me, do it. And the God of peace shall be with you. What comes directly after thinking? Speaking. That's why God was so interested in teaching us how to think, because he knows that how you think controls your life, because whatever you think, you will speak. And whatever you speak, you give power to. Y'all ain't know he was going to go to Bible study today, did you? This week, watch this. This week, I want you to listen intently to how people speak. Pay attention to the content of the conversation of people around you. Many people speak the problems they have. They speak the fears they have. They speak what they don't want to happen. They speak their doubts. No matter what people say about what they believe, you can really tell what they believe when they're speaking casually. Many people don't believe the truths that I'm talking about right now. You must evaluate whether you truly believe these truths. If people really did believe these truths, they will watch their mouth. The truth is, many people believe that what they say just doesn't matter that much. It doesn't matter. Right? That's what they believe. Because if they didn't believe that, they would quit talking about their problems, their fears, their doubts, what they don't want to happen. They would truly watch every single word if they believed that their words have power. Right? I'm going to get there, Chris. Idle words. That's called idle words. My back is killing me. Idle words. Proverbs 13, back to Proverbs chapter 13, verse 3. The Douay translation. I ain't heard about that until I started studying this stuff. The Douay translation, it says, he that keepeth his mouth keeps his soul, but he that has no guard on his speech shall meet with evils. Right? The Good News translation, it says, be careful what you say and protect your life. A careless talker destroys himself. Sounds to me like it's really important to watch what you say. James chapter 1, verse 26, King James Version. James chapter 1, verse 26, it says, if any man among you seems to be religious and bridle not his tongue, but deceives his own heart, that man's religion is vain. Now, let me break down what religious means in these two instances. It says, if any man among you seems to be religious. The first mention of religious in this verse means pious. And if you don't know what pious means to take a hypocritical display of virtue. So it says, if any man among you seems to be pious and bridles not his tongue, but deceives his own heart, this man's religion is vain. Now, the second mention of religion can be translated as faith. So what it's really saying is, if any man among you seems to be pious and bridles not his tongue, but deceives his own heart, this man's faith is vain. Watch this. But deceives his own heart. His form of godliness is useless. No matter what you say you believe, no matter what form of being godly, right, He's saying that if you don't watch your mouth, if you don't control your mouth, all of it is vain. All of it is useless. Imagine living a life thinking that you're doing all the right things, but what you're speaking has more power than what you're doing. This applies to all areas of life. If you say one thing and you do another, if you don't control your mouth, all of it's useless. All of your going to church, all of your attending trainings, all of your taking notes, if you don't control what you say, it can all be in vain. That's the primary action of our faith. Speaking is the primary action of our faith. This is way before any actions that you take. If your speaking is wrong, that's why your results aren't showing up. Doesn't that explain a lot of things? I'm doing everything. I'm showing a plan. I'm talking to 2 to 5 people a day, and it's not working. There you go. You just aborted your future. You said it. You gave it power. It's not working. That's why it's not working. Because you were saying you believe, you typing it in the chat, you looking like you believe, but in your heart, out of the heart flows the issues of life. You speak what you truly believe. It's not working. It's not working, Charles. I'm doing it, but it's just not working. That's because you don't believe. That's because you don't believe for real. James chapter 2, verse 26. For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is also dead. That's the King James Version. It says, for as the body without the spirit is dead. A body without a spirit is dead. That's what we go to funerals for. The body without the spirit is dead. It literally compares it to faith without works. For as the body without the spirit is dead, so faith without works is dead also. That's clear as day, ain't it? The primary action he's referring to in the book of James, the whole entire books, the whole entire book of James, every chapter, the primary action he's referring to in the book is saying. All my saved folk on the call right now, isn't that how you got born again? If you believe in your heart, and that's not all. That's not all. What else do you have to do? You believe in your heart and you confess. You got to say it. You got to speak it with your mouth. Jesus is Lord. What if you don't say it? Then that's the evidence that you don't believe it in your heart. If you don't believe it enough to say it boldly, you don't believe it. You don't believe it. Isn't that the whole point? God knew how powerful your words is, and that's why he wants you to confess it. Everything God established, everything he established it through saying. Are you noticing that? Are you noticing the pattern? The Lord works with our words. He's the apostle and high priest of what we say, of our confession. But did you know that there's somebody else that wants your words? It's the enemy of your soul. And anything you say can and will be used against you. You must know that. There's two sides of this coin. There's two sides of this coin. God wants your words, but so does the enemy. Back to James chapter 1, verse 26. NIV version this time. It says, those who consider themselves religious and yet do not keep a tight rein on their tongues deceives themselves, and their religion is worthless. Do you know whatever you pray, whatever you speak can be undone by something else that you say that is contrary to the exact prayer that you spoke? Whatever you confessed can be undone by a negative word spoken by you. But it also works in reverse too. Did you know that any negative word can be canceled out by confessing the exact opposite positive word? Luke chapter 22, verses 54 through 62. We're not going to go there for the sake of time. But in that passage of scripture, Peter denied Jesus 3 times. But then in John chapter 21, verse 15 through 17, Jesus asked Peter 3 times, do you love me? And Peter answered 3 times, yes, Lord, you know I love you. What was Jesus doing? He was giving Peter the opportunity to cancel the 3 times that he denied him, because he knows how powerful his words are. Do you know that the enemy is so fearful of what we're talking about right now? He really doesn't want you to know how powerful you are. He wants you to keep saying words that he can use to keep access to wrecking your life. Lord knows when people hear, Lord knows when people with good hearts get money, change can come into earth, in the systems, in families, in generations. This money subject is extremely important to God. And that's why the enemy fights us so much in the area of money. That's why he does not want you to understand how powerful your words are. He doesn't want you to know the birthright to your identity. If you cut off access to the enemy through what you say, you give him no place. None. And then you start creating with your words. Isaiah 55, verse 8, King James Version. Isaiah 55, verse 8, it says, for my thoughts are not your thoughts. This is God speaking. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, says the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts higher than your thoughts. Now, a lot of people, when they read that passage, they stop right there. But the next verse continues talking about his ways. What are his ways that are different from most men on the earth? Excuse me. What are his ways that are different from most men on earth? What are his ways that are higher than most men on earth? Here's what it says in the next verse. Verse 10 and 11. It says, for as rain comes down, as snow from heaven, and it returns not thither, but waters the earth, and makes it bring forth and bud, that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So shall my word be that goes forth out of my mouth. It shall not return to me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. What is he saying? What is his way? His way is he believes something inside of himself and then he speaks it. And when he speaks it, every word he speaks will not come back to him empty. It will accomplish what he sent it to do. That is his way. Now, what is your way? Will you make your way just like his way? I want to, listen, see, we grew up in a world where we were taught that speaking is for communicating. We're taught that speaking is for sharing what I think, what I feel, communicating, right? Oh, and don't people love to share? And share is what they do. Look at the explosion of communication in the earth. Texting, Twitter, Facebook, email. Why? Because people love to share. They want to share everything. They love to talk. They're going to tell you how they feel and let you know what they're thinking at this very moment. My thoughts are this, and my thoughts are that. And I feel like this, and I feel like that. What am I thinking right now? Let me post it and see how many people agree. What am I feeling at this very moment? Let me give them a piece of my mind. Let me express myself. Watch this. I'm just saying. Let me ask you a question. Is that God's way? You ever get a tweet from God about how he's feeling? If God speaks a word to you, it's sent to do something, and it will not come back to him without doing what he sent it to do. Do we speak like that? Does most of the world use their words to accomplish things? Back to Isaiah chapter 55, verse 8. The complete Jewish translation says, the word that goes out of my mouth, it will not return unto me unfulfilled. It will accomplish what I intended and cause to succeed what I sent it to do. It will not come back to me without results. It will accomplish whatever I want and achieve whatever I sent it to do. Remember, I told y'all early on that we are to be imitators of God. Like we got to be like him. He empowered us to be like him. Do you get it? Do you get it yet? Watch this. Let's read this not as God speaking, but as what you're empowered to do. Watch this. The word that goes out of my mouth, it will not return unto me void. It will accomplish what I intend and cause to succeed what I sent it to do. It will not come back to me without results. It will accomplish whatever I want and achieve whatever I sent it to do. Imitate God. Should we make this our confession? Should we make his ways our ways? Should we be as a child imitating the Father? Should we do it as he does it? Do you think God gets results? Should we imitate how he operates so we can get God's type of results every single time? Isn't results what you want? Are we, like I just said, are we told in the word to imitate our Father? Let his ways that are higher, like the heavens are above the earth, the ways of men in the earth, the ways of the ungodly people, right? They mock us for this. They scoff at the notion that we believe we can actually say something and it happens. Not understanding that all humans have this power. All humans have this power. It's built into us. This ain't a saved and unsaved conversation. This is what you were made to do conversation. Whatever you're speaking, you're going to have it. His ways should be your ways. Isaiah 55, verse 11, easy to read version. This is what it says. It says, in the same way my words leave my mouth and they don't come back without results, my words make the things happen that I wanted to happen. They succeed doing what I sent them to do. That's powerful, man. The Message version says this: my words will do the work that I sent them to do. They'll complete the assignment I gave them. Watch this. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11, King James Version. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11, it says, when I was a child, I spake as a child. I understood as a child. I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things. How do children speak? They speak thoughtlessly. They just say whatever comes to them. Whatever comes to their mind, they say it. And many adults talk the exact same way. Just whatever comes to mind. Like a child. Children are extremely honest. Mom, that just make you look fat. They just say whatever comes to mind. Right? Daddy farted when he bent over the other day. What you telling my business for? Right? They just say whatever, right? But when you grow up, when you come into this knowledge, you learn that words are not just to communicate. Your words are to accomplish. You learn how to pause and not say something based on a feeling or something that you see or a symptom. You learn to wait and look to Jesus, because when you say it, I intend for it to go do it. Excuse me. I'm going to send faith-filled words, and they're not coming back to me empty. They're coming back having accomplished what I sent them to do. That's what he said. And notice, here's another way he explained it. Remember, he said his word is like the rain. It's not like lightning bolts when you speak, right? He said when you speak, it's like the rain that comes down upon like a parched, dry field. And then when that water comes down, if there's seed in the ground out there, life begins to germinate. That's what happens when you and I speak. I want you to get that mental picture. Your mind is soil. And your words are the rain. And whatever you speak is going to germinate that soil. That's what happens when you and I speak in faith and in love and by the direction of the Holy Spirit. All right? I'm going to give you 10 things that your words in their entirety are supposed to do. 10 things, and then we're going to stop right here. I'm going to have to do a part 2. Because it's more. It's more about this identity thing. 10 things your words in entirety are used to do. This is powerful. 10 things. Number 1, to commune with, worship, praise, lift up, extol, acclaim, celebrate, glorify, honor, magnify, proclaim, and profess our all in love for the Alpha and Omega, for the first and the last, the beginning of the end, the Most High, Lord God Jehovah, in all his majesty and greatness. He is God all by himself. He is the greatest that ever was, the greatest that is, and the greatest there will ever be. That is the primary reason that you were created. And the single reason for your existence, to come into that knowledge and use it in this life to be like him in every way. That's the primary reason that we have the ability to speak. The primary reason that we have the ability to speak. That's number one. But number two, to administer grace to others. That's why you have the ability to speak. Number three, your words are to be used to create situations, results, and happenings that match your desire and will when it lines up with God's will. And God's will is always good. That's how you know it's God's will. If it's any virtue, excuse me, if it's good, if it's any virtue, it's his will. Right? Number four, right? Your words in their entirety are to be used, number four, to shift situations and circumstances to match your desire and will. As long as it agrees with God's will. So number three was to create situations and results and happenings that match your desire and will. Number four is to shift situations and circumstances to match your desire and will. You can use your words to do that. Number five, your words in their entirety are to be used to be sent to accomplish something. Number six, your words are to be used to go and create success. Number seven, your words are to be used to edify and build up others. Ooh, it gets good. It gets good. Number eight, your words in their entirety are to be used to change physical properties and conditions with your words, the same way God does. Number nine, your words in their entirety are to be used to change environments like weather patterns, storms, continents, countries, counties, cities and municipalities, neighborhoods, streets, houses, rooms, bodies, and spirits. All those environments you have authority and power for. And number 10, finally, your words are to be used to communicate with others. That's the last one. That's how powerful you are. This is your identity. Remember, your words are an extension of your identity. And in part two of this training, I'm going to continue proving everything that I said tonight. Right? I see you, Tiffany. She said, your words are to save and heal. That falls under to edify and build up others. That falls under to edify and build up others. That also falls under to administer grace to others. You can administer, oh, that's good. Thank you, Holy Spirit. You can administer grace with your words. There's a scripture I'm gonna show y'all on part two. that empowers you to operate the faith of Jesus. I need you to understand this. Not your own faith. Whew. Not your own faith. Your faith can only take you so far. Do you think Jesus wants you to be successful? I have faith in Jesus's faith that he wants me to be successful. That's different, y'all. That's different. Do you think Jesus wants you to be healed? I got faith in Jesus's faith that he wants me to be healed. Not my faith, in his faith. Ooh, I gotta prove it. I gotta prove it. I gotta prove it. Part 2 is going to be just as good, if not better, than what you heard tonight. I have a task. I have a task to help you understand how powerful you are. See, you might be thinking to yourself, what does all of this have to do with business? What does this have to do with me achieving what it is that I want to achieve? Everything. It has to do with your belief. It has to do with how you speak. Because how you speak is an extension of what you believe. How you speak is an extension of your identity. The reason why I'm spending so much time talking about words and what you speak is because when you begin to understand how powerful you are, when you understand that it is literally built into your identity to speak something and see it happen, when you work from that position, from that understanding, it changes everything. But I'm not done yet. There's more. There is more. So I'm going to end it right here. And part 2, right? Part 2 will continue to show you how powerful you are and illuminate even more about what you've been created to do. And when you do the work, when you choose to do the work from this position, understanding how powerful you are in your identity, your results are going to be so different. You're going to work with such a peace. You're going to work from a position of, I know it's done. I know it's done. The no's just don't bother you as much when you know that it's your destiny to have 500 people living and breathing right now in your business. Because you said it, you believe it, and you do the work like you believe it, and the results show up. Do you understand now why I said your confidence is wrapped up in your identity? That self-confidence formula, the foundation of that self-confidence formula is in your identity. And when you know your identity, the self-confidence formula, that confidence shows up in every facet of how you move. Y'all said y'all trust the sources. They got the fruit. The information has been proven to work. I'm giving you the source of the information. Now it's up to you to choose to believe it. It's up to you to accept it. Notice I ain't said nothing about current circumstances. I ain't said nothing about how your bank account look right now, because it don't matter. We're going to stop it right there.